Hey, I'm Sakura, and I was born to the coolest parents ever. Before I go on, please hit like and subscribe. My parents were immigrants from Japan who built a successful business in America and gave my brother Dean and me the best life ever. Growing up, I was a straight-A student, and my dad always said I'd be a great doctor someday. It was his dream, only I knew the real reason. He loved Grey's Anatomy. I was too young to know what I wanted, but I loved making different sculptures out of anything I could find around me. When Mom noticed how good I was, she took me to the best workshops. Once when I was 6, we went to Spain for a vacation. I dragged everyone to see the famous Memel sculpture. It was the best day of my life.
Oh my God, why would anyone make such a big spider?
Yeah, I'm surprised you like it even though you're terrified of everything that crawls.
I know, but I think it's beautiful. At least that's the meaning of it. It shows how the spider protects her babies even though she looks so delicate because of her thin legs.
People around me who heard me were surprised, and the tour guide told me that my observation was correct. Dad looked so proud at that moment.
See? My Sakura is so smart. And you both thought it was just some ugly spider. You should spend your free time with her and learn facts like this.
While Dad treated me like a princess, we all know who the real royalty was. Dean. And he knew that as well. He was 10 years older than me and always got on my nerves. One time when I was 8, Dean caught me eating cookie dough and started to laugh like crazy. Your mouth, you stuffed it all in your mouth. You look like the panda from the movie Kung Fu Panda.
Mom, Dean's making fun of me. He called me a panda.
Then stop stuffing your face like that. And stop blaming your brother for everything. Now help me in the kitchen, will you? He always makes fun of me and you never tell him anything. It's like you don't love me at all.
It's not that she doesn't love you. She just loves me more than you.
Dean snickered in the corner, making ugly faces at me, and I felt so mad. He was annoying, just like every older brother. But he was also very protective of me and cared for me. Once I was getting ready for school when I saw the biggest lizard ever and let out an ear-splitting scream.
Sakura, are you all—
Lizard! Lizard! Big, fat, staring at me! Lizard! It's so creepy! Get it out! Save me!
Really? Did you howl because of a lizard? And you liked that creepy spider statue? Wow.
He did chase the lizard away, but kept making fun of the way I had screamed for days. When I was in the 4th grade, it was time for Dean to go to university, and Mom was a sobbing mess.
I'll keep visiting, Mom, don't worry. And before you know it, I'll be here for Christmas. You better get your gift ready because I already have yours.
Dean and I had a tradition of exchanging Christmas gifts on the roof with a cup of hot chocolate. When he visited for the holidays, I was over the moon. I was so looking forward to opening gifts with my brother. But 2 days before Christmas, I heard something crash in my parents' room. I ran upstairs and saw Dad and Dean having a yelling contest while Mom cried inconsolably.
You have ruined my name, this family's name. You brought him up and this is how he turned out. Don't talk to Mom that way, it's not her fault. You have the nerve to talk back to me? You—
Dad stopped mid-sentence when his eyes met mine. Seeing me, Dean rushed out of the room, but I followed him. Why were you fighting with Dad?
It's nothing, Sakura. I failed my exam, so Dad was angry.
I tried to talk to Dean after that, but he shut himself in his room. I knew what would make him happy, the present. I waited for him on the roof, but he didn't show up. The next day when I went to his room, Mom told me he'd left for his university while I was asleep. I couldn't believe he'd broken our tradition. How could he do this? I immediately called him. You left without saying goodbye.
I'm sorry, Panda. Something came up, but I'll make it up to you, okay? With the best gift ever.
Yay, cool. But what about your gift?
Keep it safe with you for now. I'll take it when I come back home next. Deal?
Deal. But Dean never came back. I waited every year for him, but he missed all the occasions. Every time I called him, he said he was busy. It broke my heart. With time, I got used to not having Dean around and started concentrating on making Dad proud. Soon, I was 18 and going to medical school. I was excited, but not as excited as my dad. He was over the moon. I tried my best, but being a medical student was tough. and before I knew it, I was failing my classes. Dad was gonna be so mad. I remembered how he was fuming at Dean for failing. My fear got the best of me, and I asked my tech-savvy roommate to make me a fake report card with an A+ grade, and she did a fab job. I wish I had this talent. That weekend when I went home, Dad looked at me with a poker face as he saw my result. Dad, look, I'm the smartest in my class.
You could have done a better job, Sakura.
I'll do better and get better grades, don't worry.
No, I mean with this Photoshop work.
Blood drained from my face as I saw Dad looking like he was going to explode.
Your professor called me and told me you failed your semester exams. I got your original report card a few days ago.
Dad, I'm so sorry.
You better be. Do you know how much money I spent for you to get into that college? Not only did you fail, you're also lying. How could you?
I flinched at how loud Dad's voice had gotten and saw Mom run into the room. It's just, medical school is really tough, and I knew you'd get mad at me if I failed. I got stressed out, Dad. I don't think I'm made for this. I want to drop out.
Drop out? Have you lost your mind? Life is tough, Sakura. If I had to quit every time I was stressed, we would be homeless now. And what would you do if you quit medical school?
I could get into sculpting. I'm really good at it. If you could just see that, maybe you'll agree with me too.
You want to make clay dolls? No way. You better get your grades up soon. Listen to me carefully, Sakura. If you decide to leave med school, you will not come back to this house. Understood?
His words really angered me, and I snapped. Loud and clear, Dad. Loud and clear. With that, I packed my stuff and went straight to my aunt's place. Aunt Lexi was my mom's younger sister. She was the cool aunt of the family and lived by herself in a big villa. I told her everything, and she gave me a big hug and sent me to my room. When she called me for dinner, my jaw dropped at seeing Dean sitting in front of me. Dean, what are you doing here?
Hi, Panda. I missed you so much.
Dean hugged me while I cried.
Ew, you're getting your snot all over my shirt.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dean. I then told Dean about what happened, and he looked sad for me. But I had only one question for him. Why did you stop coming over?
I told you, I was busy with uni and stuff.
It was because Dad and you fought, right? About your…
What? Oh, yeah, because I failed my exams, yeah.
The following week, Dean helped me get admission into the art college I wanted, and I was finally free from med school. Art school was everything I dreamt of, but I was still upset that I couldn't share this joy with Mom and Dad. Dean and Aunt Lexi always tried to cheer me up with visits to museums or art galleries and yummy food every night, but I still missed my parents. One night, I couldn't get any sleep and decided to get some water. As I tiptoed my way to the kitchen, I heard my aunt and Dean talking, and what I heard knocked the wind out of me.
Dean, did you try talking to your father? I'm really worried about Sakura. She misses both of them so much. I know, Aunt Lex, it's just, you know how Dad can be. He's not answering my calls. I think he still hates me. I hope he finds it in his heart to forgive me someday.
Forgive you? He should be the one to realize his mistake. How could he just kick out his own son for falling in love with a boy? He did what? Hearing my voice, Aunt Lexi and Dean turned to me with wide eyes. You're lying, right? Dad wouldn't do that. He even helped his assistant come out to her family.
That's just for the world to see, Sakura. He's always been like this. He pretends to be this modern person, but he's not. It's just the way he was brought up. These traditions.
My whole world came crashing down. I couldn't believe that my dad was capable of doing something like this. He was a completely different person for me now. I was furious, so I went home with Dean the next day to confront my parents. When Mom saw Dean, she hugged him tight.
My Dean, I missed you so much, son.
Just then, Dad walked into the house, and Dean moved away from Mom immediately.
How dare you come back?
I brought him here. Yes, I know you kicked him out. How can you be this two-faced person, Dad? You go around supporting others and being this modern person, but here you are, holding back your own children.
Sakura, you have no right.
But I do, Dad. He's my brother, and you kept him away from his family. How did you have the heart to do this to your own son?
He was ready to ruin the name of this family. He is not my son.
How can you say that?
Why, it's the truth. Ask him or your mother.
When I looked at them, they looked pale.
What are you doing? You promised never to bring it up. He left me with no choice. He is breaking apart this family. I loved him and brought him into this house from that orphanage. And this is how he repays me.
What in the father-freaking world? I looked at Dean and instantly knew that Dad was telling the truth. You're adopted? Why did you never tell me?
I found out the day you were born, and you'll always be my little sister. I couldn't hurt you. And Dad, I never meant to hurt you either. But I won't apologize for being who I am and falling in love. I can't believe you still have the nerve to stand in my house and talk to me that way. Get out.
His words made my head spin, and it was then that I heard Mom yell, for the first time.
You are such a cruel person. Congratulations. You yourself broke this family apart. I'm going with my children. You can have all the traditions and your wealth and business, but we are going to live a better life, where we can breathe.
Saying that, Mom took mine and Dean's hands and stormed out of the house. I'd never seen her this angry. We stayed without Lexi for a while until we could figure out what to do. One day, Dean introduced us to his boyfriend, and we loved him. He was kind and yelled at Dean for teasing me and calling me a panda again. I liked this guy. One afternoon, the doorbell rang as we sat down to have lunch. Aunt Lexi entered the room with Dad right behind her. He looked like a mess.
Can I talk to you all, please? We have nothing to say to you, and I doubt we would want to listen to you. Mom.
Dad then began sobbing, and it broke my heart. Dean went and held him. Dad turned and hugged Dean tight.
Son, I'm so sorry. I was rude to you and I shouldn't have done that. I thought what I was doing was right, but it wasn't. You're my son, the future of my house and business. But before all that, you are my son. And then you came along and my world was complete. I hope you'll forgive me. Please forgive me.
I ran toward my dad and hugged him as well. Of course, Dad. We're so glad that you found your way back to us. Everyone in the room was a sobbing mess. Dad agreed to meet Dean's boyfriend one day, and to everyone's surprise, they bonded really well over sports and the fact that they dislike ice cream and loved Grey's Anatomy. Weird. Our family was nowhere close to perfect, but it was much stronger, and that's all I could ask for now.
Hi everyone, I'm Daria and I live in LA. Please like and subscribe. I was born to loving parents who adored me. And 2 years later, my sister Caroline arrived, and even though we were sisters, we looked nothing alike. For starters, I had long, beautiful hair, which my mom loved and would spend hours combing. As for Caroline, she was blessed with curly hair that usually looks like a bird's nest, but she didn't have a worry in the world. Growing up, I always noticed how my parents were two opposites of a magnet. Mom was strict and careful with money. Dad was a free spirit and always lived in the moment, and I loved him for that. One time, all four of us visited the museum, and it was there I saw the most amazing thing ever. Lockheed Vega, Amelia Earhart's plane. I had read about her in my history class and was totally fascinated by her.
Dad, psst, Dad, I want a picture inside the plane.
Inside? It's not allowed.
Pretty please.
Fine. But promise to share your kitty meal, cause your mom won't let me have another one.
Deal.
Well, while Mom and Caroline were busy listening to the tour guide, Dad and I sneaked and took pictures in the legendary aircraft, and it was amazing! Dad, I want to be like her and fly airplanes. Oh, you want to be a pilot, honey? That's so nice! Since then, Dad would show me movies on pilots, flying, and everything related to it. I so wanted to be like Amelia. Things were fine until one day my parents noticed something was wrong with my eye. They immediately took me to the doctor and I was diagnosed with a condition called lazy eye. That meant I had poor vision in just one eye, and it would wander to the side. and the best way to fix it was surgery. This made my life very hard at school. For starters, I had to wear big glasses, and then the problem of my wandering eye was there.
Are you looking at the board or the teacher's butt?
No, I'm not. I was looking at the teacher's butt. I know! I so hated when people did this to me. Mom began saving every penny for my surgery, which would happen when I was 10. But luck was against us. Dad lost his job. Even though he tried to find another job, he just couldn't, and soon he just gave up. And we'd see him sitting on the couch all day playing video games. It got difficult for Mom to take care of the three of us with just her salary, and they would fight almost every day. But one night, their fight got very loud, and I heard a knock at my door.
Daria, can I stay in your room? I'm scared.
Oh no, Caroline, you don't have to be scared. I'm right here, and I promise I will always be there for you. Okay? Now, why don't we have some fun? Caroline and I played and jumped up and down on the bed. It was so fun. We talked the night away, and I told her about my dream to become a pilot.
Will you take me on the plane with you?
Of course. I'll even let you sit next to me and take you to different places. When I turned 13, Mom had finally saved enough money for my surgery, and I was so happy. To celebrate, Dad said he would get me a surprise. I loved surprises. This was one of the best days ever. Ta-da! Congratulations, Daria. What's wrong, honey? It's your fave. That's one ugly cake. I said red velvet, not carrot cake.
It is red velvet, Dumbo. Taste it.
It is, but an ugly one. Boo-hoo, you didn't get a pretty cake. Can we just eat now? I gotta go for practice. Forget it, I'll eat later. That was somewhat rude of her. But as we were growing up, I realized how Caroline had begun to get distant. I talked to Dad about it, and he said it was just a phase, and how she was so much into sports. I did miss the younger, naive Caroline, but thank God I had Keisha, my neighbor and best friend. She knew all my secrets, including my big fat crush on the school's hottest guy, Jason. The guy was everything a girl could ever dream of. Plus, he was in a band too. So hot, right?
Daria, you should totally tell him about your crush.
So that he'll see me as one of his fangirls? No, thank you.
Oh, come on. He won't see you that way. You better tell him soon or I will. Kidding.
That evening when I got back home from school, I saw Mom and Dad arguing. Again. So what's this one about? Ooh, let me guess. Dad overslept. Wait, he got another parking ticket. Ooh, I know. He burned dinner. Nah, this time, Dad spent the electricity bill on food for him and his friends when he came over to watch the cricket match. Can you believe it? That's a new one. Perfect. Now the power is cut. Well, things didn't change over the next few years, and when I was 17, Mom announced she would have to move to Dubai because she had a really good job offer there. We decided that Caroline and I would stay back with Dad and finish our studies here. Dubai? Won't you miss us? Of course I will. I know you can handle things here. I trust you, sweetie. Plus, I'll be back in a while. After Mom left, everything was on my shoulder. It was unfair, and I sort of resented her for that. Good job opportunity or bad? How could she just leave? I was pretty upset, but when Dad stepped up, things got better. He spent most of his time taking care of us, which was unusual, but I loved it. After I was done with high school, I was excited and started saving money for the pilot training program, but I was still falling short.
Daria, why don't you just borrow from your mom? Or maybe Caroline?
Oh, Mom said she will give, but I can't ask her for the entire amount. And Caroline? She won't give it up so easily. She keeps an account of everything. She's a little weird in that way.
So, why don't you take it and give it back later?
She doesn't have to know. Borrow from Caroline? I didn't want to, but I was out of options. So I borrowed some cash from Caroline's safe box and pretended like nothing was wrong. I'll bring it back soon. Just a few weeks later, when I got home from my part-time job, I saw Caroline having a yelling competition with Dad. What in the world was happening? Caroline, what's going on? Well, I was missing a big chunk of money recently, and it turns out Dad stole it. No way. Why would he walked in with gifts for us. Expensive ones. Where would he get the money from? How can you accuse me of doing something like this? I saved this. Yeah, right. You saved money? You don't know the S of save, Dad. Caroline stormed out of there, and I saw Dad staring at me. Later, Mom found out, and it got even worse. I felt extremely guilty and wanted to tell Caroline everything, but I couldn't. The guilt was eating me, and one day I just wanted to be out of the house, away from everything. So Keisha and I went to a cafe where we ran into someone I never thought I would meet. Jason. Hey, Daria. Haven't seen your pretty face in so long. I don't know why I just said that. I mean, it's been so long. Jason, it's so nice to see you here. Why was my voice going so high? Since that day, Jason and I had been constantly texting and calling, and soon we became really good friends. I even confessed about my elephant-sized crush on him, and he said he liked me too. A couple of weeks later, I invited Jason for Caroline's birthday. After all of her friends had left, it was just the four of us and Dad, and we decided to watch a movie. But Caroline was still not talking to Dad, so he left saying he was feeling tired. I felt so bad for him. The guilt was eating me alive, and I wanted to confess to Caroline immediately. But the outfits worn by the actors distracted me. Oh, that's a lovely design. Maybe if the dress was in red and not orange, it would have looked better. What are you talking about? That dress is red. Do you need glasses now, Grandma? Oh, shush. But that is orange, right? No, it's red. Like really bright red. Maybe the contrast in color looks different from the angle you're sitting at? Yeah, maybe. But I let this go and focused on my test for the pilot training. But when it was time for the vision test, I was left in shock. I had color blindness. But I got my eyes fixed and had surgery. This happens a lot. Color blindness can often go unnoticed. But look at the bright side. It's just partial color blindness. Just partial? This cannot be happening. Does this mean I still can be a pilot? I'm afraid you can't. I'm sorry. I ran out of there and locked myself in my room as soon as I got home. This was single-handedly one of the worst days of my life. To add to this, all Mom did was call and talk to me for a little while because she had to rush to a meeting. It's like she didn't even care. I was beginning to hate my life. I was sick of staying at home and decided to go over to Keisha's place, and even bought our favorite milkshakes on my way, but I was not prepared for what I saw. Oh my god, Daria! Are you freaking kidding me? Daria, how could you do this to me? Let me explain. I wasn't talking to you. I can't even look at your face. Keisha, how could you? You weren't dating him. I liked him too since high school. And before I knew it, we kissed at Caroline's birthday. Hold up! At my sister's party? Under my roof? And you sat next to me and held my hand while watching the movie. You know what? I don't need a backstabbing friend like you. And a jerk. I'll pass. You both deserve each other. I was fuming with anger, and I'm pretty sure I looked like a steam engine. I threw the milkshake at them and stormed out of there. I cut off all contact with both Keisha and Jason and avoided them. I felt so betrayed. Why was all this happening to me? My life was the worst. Before I knew it, Mom ended up coming back to check up on me. Wow, look who decided to show up. Finally got some time off of your work to check on your family? Don't talk to me that way, Daria. Do you have any idea how much I've been through? And what about what I've been through? Huh? You didn't show up when I got to know about my colorblindness. Instead, you showed up now. Because I'm acting sad? I just hate you. I saw the look of shock on Mom's face before I was being dragged out of the house by Caroline. What is wrong with you? Why are you acting this way? I just hate how my life has turned out. I went through so much. This awful eye condition, Mom abandoning us, and now Jason and Keisha. Oh my god, shut up. She didn't abandon us, and what? Some boy problems? Grow up. Everyone has problems. Did you know I actually failed my exams when Mom left? Instead of crying and making a scene, I decided to do better. And I did. And when Dad stole the money, I lost my mind. Do you know why I was saving that money? To buy these new shoes for football so that I could perform well and get the scholarship. But I couldn't, and I lost it. Oh my God, what have I done? Caroline, I have to tell you something. It wasn't Dad who stole your money. It was me. I am so sorry. Before I could complete my sentence, Caroline slapped me across the face. You selfish person. Are you happy? Ruining my life? My relationship with Dad? You know what? I'm glad Keisha and Jason are together. You don't deserve to be happy for what you did. Caroline, please listen. Since that day, Caroline had refused to speak to me. I apologized to Dad and Mom for what I did, especially Dad. I should have said something that day, Dad. I wasn't strong enough. You know, I had seen you take the money from Caroline's safe, but I wanted you to tell her yourself. What you did was hard for me to believe, but I am glad that you came clean. In the end, that's what counts. Mom and Dad didn't forgive me right away, but eventually they did. However, my sister